there is no such thing as bad foods. Welcome to Strong for Life Live. This is Coach Josh Wood down here in Hobart, Tasmania. And what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about food. But first, let's do the introduction. So, if you are new here or new to the podcast, the Strong for Life podcast is all about helping you become strong for life. This is based out of a lot of the conversation we have in the Become Strong for Life Facebook group. And it's really targeted towards busy parents and busy professionals and people who are poor on time and really need the most effective ways to get more out of their health and fitness. If you are catching the podcast as opposed to the live stream, please take a moment to rate and review and share any wonderful tidbits you have with any friends or family or anyone willing to listen. That does a lot to really make sure that we can keep doing this. What else? Let's talk about some updates. So, just got back from I was on a 2-day archery tournament. 2-day archery tournament over the weekend, which was cool. And I compete in traditional archery. Shooting wooden arrows out of a wooden bow. Sometimes we dress up in medieval garments as well. So 2-day tournament, field course. I pulled second in my division and third overall for traditional archers. So made some mistakes, got worn out. 2 days of shooting arrows is fatiguing. There's a lot to worry about with staying real focused for that long, and made some mistakes I shouldn't have made. So we'll fix those for the next one, which won't be until after the new year, I think. So that was cool. Now, let's talk about some challenges here. Group challenges. One of the things that I'm interested in doing, and if anybody else is as well, please let me. I think I'd like to start running some monthly challenges in the Become Strong for Life Facebook group. So if you want to start doing more community challenges as opposed to just discussion, please let me know and give me some of your ideas. What would you like to be challenged on? What would you like to work towards? I think that's it for updates. Now, I started off saying there's no such thing as bad foods, and the simplest way I think about food, and I say this to everybody, I say this a lot because everybody thinks, oh, gosh, I've had so many conversations with fad dieters in the last week and people who are terrified of food or terrified about the idea that they're going to have to give up something to reach their goals. First of all, yes, you will have to give up something to reach your goals. If you want to be leaner, you want to be stronger, you want to perform better, you have to give something up. And maybe that's time, or maybe that's money, or maybe it's a shitty diet. You will have to give something up to get something more from your life. But most people find that the thing they give up now, they don't even think about in 6 months. So, what's this about bad foods? I often say to people, you can reach your goals and eat whatever you want. You don't have to give up your favorite food. You don't have to give up pizza or pasta or poutine. You can eat whatever you want, but you cannot eat it whenever you want. This is the thing. A very common thing I see is that people get to the end of their workday and they feel like they need a treat. And they need a treat every day of the week, and then they need a bigger treat on the weekend. But if you are treating yourself every day or at the regular time and place each week, it's not a treat, that's just your diet. And that's something that you may have to change. Doesn't mean those foods are bad. Doesn't mean you need to give them up completely. But you need to recognize when something suits your goals, and as an adult, you have to decide to do the things that suit your goals or accept that you will not reach your goals. That's an important thing. And there's just so much confusion and fear around food. There was a comment in the community yesterday or today. Someone says, I want to be lean and strong and maintain my weight while still enjoying food. And that last line, I was like, I don't know anybody who's an athlete or a bodybuilder or gym junkie who is focused on bettering their health and fitness. I don't know anyone who's working towards a health or fitness goal that doesn't enjoy food. It gave me a double take. I was like, what are you saying by this? And what it is they don't want to have to give up their treats. They don't want to have to feel like they're limiting themselves. But you have to limit one area to excel in another. It just isn't a way around that. But understanding you don't have to do it all at once. You can do it in baby steps. Understanding that sometimes you got to stop kidding yourself. And maybe your goals don't actually match what you want out of life, what you think are your goals. Kind of comes down to what we were talking about a couple weeks ago about how, your wishes and your wants don't matter as much as what you actually do. It's kind of like people who say they want to win the lottery but never actually buy a lottery ticket. You have to invest. You have to invest in the results you want. And if you're unwilling to change anything or change the most important thing to reach those goals, I don't think those are real goals. And that's kind of a hard truth for a lot of people, is that to eat like an adult means eating for the life you actually want to live, not the one you're currently living and hoping will change. So you can eat what you want, you just can't eat it whenever you want. The other end of the spectrum I see is the people who aren't so afraid of having to give something up, but are looking for things to cut out. The ketos, the vegans, the intermittent fasters, the no carb, no sugar, can't eat this, can't eat that, who never see the results they want. I used to be part of a big keto Facebook group. I just couldn't be part of it anymore. I was trying to help people, but they're all like, I'm keto and I've given up all sugar and I lost 10 pounds a year ago, but I haven't lost anything since, and I can't figure it out because I've given up sugar and I put a stick of butter in my coffee every day. It's like, why can't people find balance? It's not about cutting out certain food groups. It's not about making sure you're allowing yourself certain things. It's the middle ground. It's the eating like an adult. It's the I can do some things but not other things based on what I want to achieve and where I'm at today. Don't fear certain foods. Don't fear having to give up certain things. But understand that there has to be give and take if you want to get what you say you want to get. And honestly, more than anything, it's probably the fad dieters. They drive me nuts. And it's not their fault usually. But all of those will come down to a simple thing. If you're trying to lose weight, you have to eat less food. You need to be in a deficit. If you are trying to gain weight, you have to be in a surplus. If you're trying to gain muscle, you're going to need a certain amount of protein. These are simple foundational facts. If you go keto or veggie or juice fast or whatever, the only way you're losing weight is because you're not eating as many calories as you were before. You're generally losing muscle mass too because sometimes those diets cause you to cut out protein. So you need to reach a balance. You need to reach a middle ground and understand some of the first principles around food and time management. You can't do everything, just like you can't eat everything at the same time all the time and expect to somehow look and feel different. Exercise is only part of that equation. And so there's just been so much of this all or nothing mentality in check-ins with clients and in the Facebook group and with conversations I've been having out in the real world. And it's not all or nothing. It's all things sometimes and no things sometimes and some things sometimes. All of those are going to happen. Everything is variable in life. If you have more time, you can do more things. If you have less time, you have to do less things. And then you have to prioritize. And I know this is another bit of a rant, but it just has been coming up so much. So to sort of recap some of these things, it's not a treat if you're consuming the same stuff all the time or at the same intervals. If every Friday you're going out for an entire pizza and a bucket of wings, it's not a treat, it's just your diet. If you need to eat a packet of Tim Tams after work just to survive the day, it's just your diet. You're going to have to give up something to allow more things into your life. Making that decision is the adult thing to do. Don't fear foods, because everything is a sometimes. It's a maybe and a sometimes. This is what you kind of have to tell your children a lot too, is maybe, sometimes. Sometimes you can eat that. Maybe you can have that today. Maybe you don't need it. Maybe you have other things that you want to do with your life. And when you understand your priorities, then you can make those decisions in a way that facilitates you getting what you want. So if you have questions about that, if you're interested in talking more, let's carry this conversation on in the group, in the chat. And if you're catching this as a podcast, join us. The Become Strong for Life Facebook group. There's a link in the description here. You could just search it as well on Facebook. We'd love to have you there as part of this discussion. And if you're interested in putting some more formal group challenges together for each month, let me know. I want to know some things that are important to you and what you'd like to work on. Now, rant over and done. Let's have a little chat about shout-outs. Today I'm going to shout out to Dylan Bain. Dylan is one of my clients. I've been working with him just about 4 months, just over. He just hit a weight loss goal that he's been working on for a few years. But we started up and smashed it out of the park, and now he's almost 40 pounds down and just under 300 pounds for the first time since 2020. And now he's back into jiu-jitsu and loving life. Another thing about Dylan is he's a finance coach. Different realm, same job as me. And I was just on his podcast today, and we had a fantastic hour-long talk about everything from my history and training and investing in yourself to, well, again, food choices and how I like to eat and what I think is important, and also our connection to nature being a big part of my underlying life philosophy. So stay tuned. I'll share some clips and links and things when that comes out, but it's going to be a little bit. It takes a while to get those things out. So shout out to Dylan and all his hard work, and to the great conversation we had today. Nice, short episode today. Again, this is Coach Josh in Hobart, Tasmania. And if you're wondering what decision is going to be the most important to getting the results you want, let me know. Let's hash it out. Let's see if we can come up to that, or drop it in the group and we'll have a discussion about it. In the meantime, I'll see you next week. Just make adult decisions.